People are here. Hello, Laura. Louisiana. Very good. Christina's here. Hopefully people can hear me okay. I assume you can hear me. All right, Facebook's working, YouTube. Doesn't look like a bar. It's not a bar, no. My mom is here. Hi, Mom. Good. Okay. Nova in Texas. Hi, Deb. Suzanne, I am doing well today. Carol, hi, Carol. Hi, Trish. Hi, Sally. Ann. Good, people can hear me. And everybody's here. So I am at home. Very good observation. Our bars are open again, only till 6 o'clock. Today was a pretty busy day. We were out a bit. And so I didn't want to go right back out to a bar at 5 o'clock because 5 o'clock's really early to drink and talk. So I'm doing it from home this week. Next week I'll probably be out. But it's a different room. Last week we were in my kitchen. Before that we were in my living room. And now we're in my new office space. I'm having Averna again tonight. We had this a couple weeks ago. It's an after dinner drink. Give me a second. Okay, so yeah, Averna, it's an after dinner drink or after lunch or whenever you want to have it. But it's a digestivo, so something you'd usually have after you eat. I ate recently, and so now I'm going to have it. And it's my favorite after dinner drink, which I explained the last time. It's an Amaro. So that's the type of drink. Averna is the brand. I don't know if that's backwards for you or not. Averna is the brand, and you can find that in pretty much any liquor store in the States, and I think in Canada too. It's pretty common. But there are a bunch of different types of Amaro. You can see Amaro written right there. Amari, there are a bunch of different types. But it's best just on ice, so you don't mix it with anything. They do make some cocktails you can have with Averna, but I just pour it straight on ice or ghiaccio. That's how they would say it here. They'd say Averna con ghiaccio. So cheers. And it's a bitter, so it's a little bitter, has a lot of herbs in it. That's why it's supposed to be good with digestion, digestivo. So yeah, I'll show you some of this stuff behind me in a minute. Yeah, so Italy is pretty much all yellow again. So that's good. If you recall, we have three areas of the virus. We have the red, which is complete lockdown, yellow, which means we can, and then orange, which is kind of in the middle. And I don't think there are any places that are red now. We have 5 in the orange region, and then everything else is yellow. So I guess 15 regions are yellow. And then once the numbers continue to decline, they're going to add a different level, which is going to be white. And white means that everything is open. There are no restrictions except for distancing and masks. And I assume they mean masks inside, hopefully, because in yellow, where we are now, things are open. Museums reopened yesterday. So the Vatican Museums, the Colosseum, the Pantheon, all those things, they're open again after, I think, 80 days or something. They've been closed for a few months. Restaurants can reopen now for dine-in people, but only through lunch. Like they have to close at 6. So as I mentioned at the beginning, bars have to close at 6 o'clock. And I didn't want to do another early Tipsy Tuesday today because I didn't want to do it at 5 o'clock. But it's starting to stay light longer, which means that hopefully soon we can go back to the rooftops and do Tipsy Tuesday from rooftops again, so you can see a nice sunset over Rome. If you missed it, I'm drinking Averna, a little ASMR for you there. Averno. And what was I going to talk about today? how things are opening up. And since I'm at home, I'm able to do both Instagram and YouTube and Facebook and Twitter again. When I'm out, I can only I have to pick one or the other unless I walk around with 2 phones, which I tried that a few times. But I don't have 2 phones now, so I just have 1 phone. And so I can't walk around with 2. But I don't like to have people miss out, so I feel bad when I can only do 1. So that's why it's good to do it from home sometimes or somewhere that I'm sitting. So I'm not sure. Is anyone else drinking? I know it's pretty early for a lot of you, so maybe you're not. Yeah, so this is my newish home office. So it's my bedroom. But since I don't have tours or anything, I'm doing a lot more stuff from home now. And for years, we've been living in Rome, I didn't have a desk. I would just if I was writing or editing a video or something, I would do it standing or sitting on the couch. And that's not good. That's not the best way to do that sort of thing. So we bought a desk. I have a desk now, and I don't have a chair yet. I have a kitchen, a table chair that I'm using. Yeah, so still working on the chair, and I'm trying to get things set up so that it's not so echoey in here, because I also record the podcast in here. But our apartment, I think our ceilings are 15, 18 feet high. The walls are all, what is that stuff called? Stucco? No, not stucco. I don't know. It's like plaster. They're really hard. If you hear me knock on it, it's very echoey. The windows are big, so noise bounces around. So a lot of times if I'm doing the podcast or editing something, doing a voiceover, it sounds very echoey. So I'm trying to fix that by dampening the sound in here and making a little space for me. And so I haven't really decorated anything, but I thought I would show you some of my stuff behind me that I kind of put out recently. You can see, I don't know if you can see this. This is a rosary I recently got. It's a Memento Mori rosary, so it's got the skull for this bead, and it's paracord, and then the beads are metal, but it's a lot heavier than I thought it was going to be. You can see that it's solid, and so it's not very nice to carry that around in the pocket or take it through metal detectors to get into churches and museums. So I just have it hanging on the wall. I have been using it though on my evening rosary walks. This is something else that's new. This is my Vatican calendar. This is the official calendar of the Vatican, and it has all of the feast days for Rome, because there are some feast days that are specific to the Diocese of Rome. And I think it might be backwards for you. I don't know. I wish that they would fix that on the camera. It's all in Italian, of course, has the coat of arms up here. It has the time, the first light. So right now, today, the first light was at 6:51 in the morning. It has sunrise. It has when they do the Ave Maria prayer, which that changes throughout the season. Right now, it's at 5:45. And that has something to do with where the sun is. Later in the year, Ave Maria in May is at 9 p.m. So I'm not quite sure why that changes. I should probably look into that. Maybe somebody here knows. And then what I really love is it has all the feast days on the calendar. So has today's the presentation. It mentions certain saints that are buried here in Rome, so that you can actually go visit their tombs. So find one you might know. Of course, now I can't find one that is a popular saint here in Rome. But anyway, it tells you who they are, like one is a bishop or if it's a martyr or something like that. The church they're buried in, the date that they died. And I've seen this calendar for a long time, like traditional priests or priests that studied in Rome. When they go back, they'll take this calendar with them and they'll have it on their wall. And I never knew where to get it until this year. And a friend of mine, a priest studying here in Rome, told me where to get it at the Vatican gift shop. That's the only place they sell it. And so I'm really happy to have this because I am. So I showed you the big rosary. I'll hang this back up. This is another rosary that I recently got. It's the, what are these things called? It's like a pull chain rosary. And I like this. It's supposed to be like very sturdy, like it won't break. But it's also loud. I thought like just the metal, that's not so loud. But these beads here, they're hollow. Can you hear that? They make a lot of noise. I don't like noise. I like things to be quiet. But it's a nice rosary. So I keep that with me when I leave the house. And then this rosary. So I was kind of on a hunt for rosaries because I've had this same rosary forever. And this is the only rosary I would use. My parents got me this. I think it was blessed by John Paul II. It's touched the hands of 3 popes. My mom says, yeah, they use this in the military. So it's like a combat rosary. That's what it's called. But yeah, so my parents got me this, blessed by John Paul II. It's touched the last 3 popes. I've taken it everywhere with me on all my pilgrimages that I've done because I've had it for, goodness, I don't know how long, 20-something years. But the chain is really weak. I don't know if you can see, just a very weak chain. And so I always keep it in my pocket, and then if I pull it out, it kind of gets caught. And so it's broken a lot of times, and I've had to like go in and fix the chain. This priest I met in Rome for a drink once, he saw that it was broken, and he had like his rosary repair kit with him. He was traveling, but he keeps a rosary repair kit with him. And so he fixed it, but it's also missing some beads, which gets kind of awkward when I'm leading a rosary because like I'll only have 9 beads, and I have to keep up with which decades are missing beads. And so I've thought about fixing it. I thought about making like a paracord rosary out of it, like really thin paracord, because I really like these wooden beads and it has so much meaning. I don't know how many of you know, but we lost our first daughter. So this has touched her lips, plus my other daughters have kissed it. And it's very sentimental. And I like to have this one with me. But even like the Mary is, I have to show 2 different cameras, but you can see it's like bent. See that, how it's all bent? So it's kind of falling apart, which I guess is a good thing. You know, it's good if your Bible or your rosary or things like that are falling apart, because it means you use them. But I've been wanting to get a better one, or not a better one, a replacement that won't break, that has some sentimental value, but I'm still working on that. It's a work in progress. Christy says, can you order from the Vatican gift shop? Yeah, there's actually a website that you can get the calendar. If you message me, I'll have to look it up and tell you, but it's like Vaticum, like C-U-U-M maybe. And they sell this calendar through that gift shop. Jenny says, medium, larger beads, not too noisy or too heavy. Oh, and you have a link, small things, great love. Yeah, I have to keep working on what I want. I do like the feel of this one, like if I'm out walking, because it's nice and solid, but it's just not practical to put in a pocket. I mean, it's the same size as this one, the height and everything, but it's just really bulky. So what am I drinking? I'm drinking a Verna. You can see here, Averna, this is an Amaro. It's a digestivo, typically like an after dinner, after lunch drink, and it's just on ice. Okay, what else can I show you? I'll show you this. This is a gift from my wife. She makes fun of the way I say this animal. I say penguin. And so we typically give gifts to each other for anniversary that are traditional. Like there's a traditional set of gifts you can give. I think the first year was paper or something. So I got her a newspaper subscription. She gave me a book. But a couple years ago, it was crystal. And so she found me that. So it was kind of a joke, like because of the way I say the name of the animal, which I won't say again. Let's see. On many Hail Marys at a time, the priest used a plastic rosary. Yeah, they can be very sentimental. I'm doing. So I've been on that account before, praying the rosary, a few months ago, and they also asked me to lead the rosary on Good Friday this year. So if you don't follow them on Instagram, it's many Hail Marys at a time, and I'm going to take you or them to a place in Rome that's pretty significant for Good Friday and pray the rosary there live. But that's on Instagram. What else can I show you? Back here I have this. So I'm just giving like a tour of my office today. This reminds me of home. They're these little acrylic boxes. They're in the Museum of Modern Art. I don't remember who makes them or where. I think they're from California. Yeah. But my mom had these growing up all over the house, like different colors. And like she actually used them and put stuff in them. And so before I moved over here, I got one, orange, because that's my color. And so I just keep it out so I can see it. It gives me joy. And then inside it, I have this. This is from a magnolia tree. It also reminds me of home because when I was growing up, we had a big magnolia tree outside of our house. And one day, it was after our lockdown ended, I think it was the very first day, I went out walking and I don't know where I was. I was like somewhere near the Trevi Fountain. There are no magnolia trees near the Trevi Fountain, but this was laying on the ground. And so I was really missing home. I still miss home because it's been a year now. And I've had it with me ever since. So I keep it in here. This is like my home box memories. Then have little Our Lady of Fatima. This was a gift when I took a group to Fatima. So not really sentimental, but it's pretty and it's some kind of stone or something. I have that back there. Some Benedict crucifix. My parents gave me one of these when we became Catholic. So I'm a convert, if you don't know. And there was a little one. It was like this big. And I carried it in my pocket every day for, I don't know, like 15 years. And now it's in America, so I don't have it. And so for Christmas, I asked for a big one. And so I got one. But I want the one that I had before. And then a little bottle of holy water. This I got in St. Peter's. So the churches here, we don't have holy water. I'm sure it's like that for a lot of you. Once the pandemic started, all the restrictions, they took holy water out of the churches. Actually, during the first couple weeks on Twitter, I was going to different churches every day, and I would say like that they gave communion in the hand or if there was holy water, kind of just to see how long it took for everybody to do that. Anyway, so yeah, we haven't had holy water in forever. There are a couple churches that do have holy water, but they're hard to find. So we got this in St. Peter's. If you're ever at St. Peter's and you want holy water, if you go back to, there's a little museum inside the church. It's back by the sacristy, and you can buy the bottle. And then when you buy the bottle, the gift shop notifies the sacristy right next door. So by the time you come out of the gift shop, the guy in the sacristy is there waiting for you. He takes the bottles and fills them up. So it's like real St. Peter's holy water. And so I carry one of these with me all the time. And the first thing I do when I wake up is sign of the cross with the holy water. And now we take it to Mass with us so that we can bless ourselves when we go in, since we can't do it with the holy water in the church. Father John, how available are relics to acquire in Rome? There is, like, you might can go through your bishop to get a relic. There used to be this group of nuns. They were near St. Mary Major, and they were in charge of the relics. So it was a lot easier. It's probably like 15 years ago. You could just walk up there with a priest usually and tell them who you wanted, and you would pay for the reliquary, like the little reliquary things, and a couple days later you would have it. But they stopped that, and so now it's very hard to get relics, especially first class. Yeah, but maybe if you go through your bishop, you can do it, or if you need it for your parish, you might be able to do it that way. You will be married 20 years next summer. You want to do a tour of Rome with me to celebrate? That sounds like a great way to celebrate. And what we can do is we can even do a Mass at St. Peter's where we have your marriage blessed. I do that a lot if people are celebrating an anniversary. I'll bring one of my priest friends to celebrate Mass for us when we start the tour. So yeah, 2022. That sounds great. More stuff to show you. I don't really have a lot of books on my shelf back here, but I do have a breviary and a missal. So I started praying the Roman breviary at Christmas last year. And it's different. I didn't know this. It's different than the breviary that a lot of people do because it's Roman. I didn't know there were different ones. And so when I got it, I couldn't really find anybody to help me figure it out, because most of my priest friends, they pray the regular Liturgy of the Hours, not the Roman version. And so even though it's been a year, I'm still very lost in this. And I have like a book that helps me with it, and I still don't know what I'm doing. But it's nice. It has, each day you have homilies from different saints, different priests, and there's a lot of flipping back and forth. I've used a few of the apps as well, but I like to have a physical book. And this is the Baronius Press version, so it's really good, high quality leather, good paper, nice images on the inside. And this is in Latin and in English. And then my is for the traditional Latin Mass, because that's the Mass I like to go to. I go to English Masses a lot as well, and Italian Masses. And so we're still, we have this. My mom and dad bought this for me when they first visited, when we moved over. This has the Mass in Italian and in English. And so we can follow along in both. I mean, we understand them in both, but it's nice to have a little help. But yeah, so the traditional Latin Mass Missal, I have that there. And one other thing back here. This is, you probably heard me talk about the Scala Santa before, the Holy Stairs. My chair is really loud. Sorry about that. The Holy Stairs, these are the stairs that Oh, Amanda says that Roman says hi. Hi, Roman. Did you tell Roman about my John Tesh story? Is there an app for Roman Breviary? Yeah, there is. There's a website, and I don't know the website right now. I'd have to, if you message me, I can send it to you. There's a website that updates every day. It has the full mass, and it also has the breviary. And I use that a lot. Like if I'm out at a church praying, just because it's handy and I don't have to flip back and forth everywhere. But it's just like the book, only it's on my phone. Anyway, the Scala Santa. So I've talked about the Scala Santa many times. These are the holy stairs. These are the stairs that Christ climbed when he was condemned to death. So they were in Jerusalem, and then they were moved here to Rome by Queen Helena, Constantine's mother, also known as Saint Helena. And they were placed in the Apostolic Palace, which was over by St. John Lateran. That's where the popes lived. And only the Pope had access to these stairs. He would go up the stairs on his knees, and at the top was a chapel. It was called the Holiest of Holies. And you can still visit that chapel today. But that's where he would celebrate Mass. That's where they had all the relics of Rome. They were all kind of kept in this one chapel. That's why it was called the Holiest of Holies. And then about 400 years ago, they opened up the stairs to the public. And so what they did was they covered these marble steps in wood, and people could go up the stairs on their knees. And then I guess it was 2 or 3 years ago. Time's all messed up now because last year it feels like it didn't even happen. But I think it was 2018. They closed the stairs to restore the frescoes above. So if you've ever been to Rome, I don't know if you've been to the Scala Santa, but it's right across from St. John Lateran, the cathedral. But a lot of people miss it just because a lot of tours don't include it, and a lot of people just don't know about it. But they were restoring the frescoes above the stairs, and so what they had to do was they had to cover the steps in scaffolding. And so they were closed for about a year, and then they removed the scaffolding. They were about to reopen the stairs, and they realized that inside the steps there were termites because they were covered in this wood. Again, it's been on the steps for 400 years. And so they decided they were going to fix that. So what they did was they took all the wood off the steps, and I was really worried they were going to replace the wood because you think about how many people have gone up these stairs over the last 400 years, how many saints, how many popes, how many pilgrims. So like we were saying about rosaries, like I had a big sentimental attachment to the wood on the steps. So they took the wood off, and they decided what they were going to do instead of replacing it was fumigate it. And then any pieces of the wood that were too far gone from the termites, they would just replace like little chunks. And they left the marble, the original marble, exposed for a couple months. And I was really busy during that time with day tours. And so I was able to go up those steps 40 times, the marble steps 40 times. So you would actually be able to touch the marble that Christ walked up when he was condemned to death instead of the wood. And so when they covered the steps back up, I got an email from the guy that runs the church, and he said, I have a gift for you. And so I went over there right away, and it was this. It was a piece of the wood. So this is a piece of the wood that covered those marble steps for 400 years. And I've got to show both cameras, but if you look closely, you'll see the holes on both sides from all the termites. So you can see here the holes from the termites. So I love the Scala Santa. It's my favorite thing to do. It's my favorite thing to take people to. And so it was very special to get this as a gift from the church. And so I have that out over there. And it's from the 12th step. My wife just reminded me. The 12th step. So if you're ever going up, you know which step I have a piece of. And so when they covered up the wood, the marble, there are cutouts on each step where you can reach under through the cutout and you could touch the marble. So you could still touch the marble that Christ walked up. But it was pretty cool to be able to go up the actual marble on our knees. Oh, and then also my daughter and I, we were the last two people to go up. So we went on the very last day. We knew that they were going to close it. The next day they were going to start replacing the wood. And we went up the steps. And no, we didn't go up the steps. We got there and they had just closed. And so they know me because I'm there all the time. And I asked the guy if we could go up once more. And he said, yeah. So he opened it up and he let us go up and they closed it. I'm sure like the people that work there, they got to go up one last time. But maybe we were the last two non-Scala Santa workers that went up. So that's a tour of my office. I don't have anything else to show you. Like, it's very simple. Let's see, what's Liz saying? They uncovered the stairs before you arrived, so you didn't get to do the marble. Oh, going up the wood is special as well. The marble actually was easier on my knees than the wood. Okay, I'm going to look at your questions here because I saw a few pop up that I may have missed. If you're just joining, I'm at home today. We can go out. Restaurants and bars, they have to close at 6 p.m. But I didn't feel like drinking at 5, so another Tipsy Tuesday from home. But I'm in my office, which is really my bedroom, with a new desk. So I have a desk, don't have a chair yet, and I'm trying to get a better home office because for the last 7 years since I've lived here, I've basically worked from the couch or the kitchen table, or I stood at the little island in our kitchen. And I'm doing a lot more video work now. I'm doing the podcast. And so I need a place where I can like focus and have everything organized. So yeah, so setting up the home office. What else can I talk about? Lent is coming. I'm going to send out an email tomorrow to my list. If you're not signed up, thecatholictraveler.com. You can sign up to receive my emails that are every couple weeks. But I'm going to talk about Lent and what we're doing for Lent, because I'm going to do a lot with the station churches this year. I've been doing stuff with the station churches for, I don't know how long it's been now, maybe 12, 11 years or something. I'll explain what the station churches are. But there's 40 different churches in Rome that people visit, a different church each day of Lent. And there's a mass that takes place there. They bring out the relics, the most important relics of the church, and you get to venerate them. And so I started writing articles about these churches, I think it was 11 or 12 years ago. I did an article a day, one for each church throughout Lent. And then when we moved over, we made videos for most of the churches. The kids helped me out on a lot. Christina helped me out on, I think, one. I think she only did one. She was usually on the other side of the camera. And we're reshooting all of those because the kids are older and the churches are empty, so I can get better shots of everything. And yeah, so I'm working on that. So I did need a better office environment, and I'm trying to like, I've got like an old new display that I'm trying to work with, but it's very old. It's like 15 years, 16 years old maybe. And so I'm trying to figure out how to get that to work on my computer because my display on the computer is really small and it's hard to edit a lot of videos. Anyway, I don't know why I'm telling you about that. I'm just giving you some of the technical details. But yeah, that's it. What kind of questions do you have? Anne says, these are the steps leading up to the praetorium. Yes, where Pilate was. Yeah, and so there's 28 marble steps here, and the first 3 are still in Jerusalem. They're built into the wall. So if you've ever been on the Via Dolorosa, the Stations of the Cross, there's one area right across from the Praetorium where you can see where the stairs are, but you're just looking at the side view. Jan is talking about the ashes on the top of the head. Maybe I missed part of the question. Yeah, we do in Italy, they do ashes on the top of the head. So I talked about that a couple weeks ago, how in America, I think everybody has to do that now. Maybe it's up to the priest or the bishop. But in Italy and in a lot of Europe, they've always just on Ash Wednesday put ashes on the top of the head. So yeah, it was a surprise to me the first time I saw that as well. Oh, they're talking about that on Instagram too. Yeah. So I know when it was first announced, the Pope announced that, a lot of people felt that it was like an attack on the church, and maybe there was some liberalism coming in because ashes on the top of the head. Why would you put them on the forehead? We want to show people the faith and all that. But it's been that way for a long time, and quite a few places in Europe. I see Christine says England is doing it this year. But Rome, all of Italy has done it that way, I guess forever. I don't know. So there are a lot of different other different countries that do it with sprinkling on the head. So I know people like the ashes, and it feels special because you get to show everyone else that you are Catholic and you went to Mass that day. So yeah, it's not an attack. It's just what they're doing this year. Question: how much does it cost to book a tour of the Vatican with a guide? It depends on the guide. If you want a private tour, I don't do Vatican Museum tours. Some of the guides I use though charge $150 for 3 hours. Some charge €300 for 3 hours, but those are private. If you wanted to do it with a group, it would probably be a lot less. I always recommend doing tours with a private guide, especially if it's something important to you, because if you book with a group, you don't really know who you're getting or what they're going to tell you. And especially when it comes to the church, you want somebody that's faithful and not giving you a bunch of nonsense. Anne says, how do you get on my email list? Go to thecatholictraveler.com. And if you scroll down, you'll see at the bottom the newsletter mailing list. You can just put in an email address and that'll work. Jerry wants to know, what is a good reliable missal for the whole year in America? I don't know. I don't know, because I have the one for Rome, and it's been so long since I've had something in America. But maybe somebody can recommend one, a missal for Mass in English in the U.S. Gloria found rough pasta. Good, Gloria. So if you missed it, I have my patrons, Patreon. And if you're interested in signing up, it's thecatholictraveler.com. And there's a link for Patreon, or you can just go to patreon.com/thecatholictraveler. And there are over 300 of you that are supporting the work that I do here. So thank you for that. But once a month, we do a live, exclusive live just for patrons. And this past weekend, my wife cooked cacio e pepe. So it's a very traditional Roman dish. It's just pasta, pecorino cheese, and black pepper. That's it. And it went really well. People seem to love it. It's a simple dish, but it's also really easy to mess up. And so quite a few of the people that made it were successful. It was perfect. And then some had, it got a little chunky because if the noodles are too hot, the cheese can congeal. It really comes down to like the last 30 seconds. But if you're a patron, you can watch the video. If you're not, you can sign up, and all the previous lives that I do, they stay up there forever. When in Italy, where would I recommend buying a rosary? There are on the Borgo Pio and also Conciliazione. Those two streets have tons of shops for religious items. So there's one called Comandini. They have everything from like real gold, silver rosaries, all the way down to like plastic ones. There's Savelli. They're like world famous for their jewelry and their rosaries. You can even buy their stuff online if you want. So there's quite a few places. Liz wants to know if the Scavi is open. I don't know. When we were yellow before, the Scavi was open. I don't know if they've officially reopened yet. But if you don't know how to get tickets, if you go to my website, you can click on my guide. It's in the navigation bar. And in my Rome guide, I have specific instructions on how to request Scavi tickets directly through the office. So you can request tickets there and see. Jerry, a few people have mentioned St. Joseph's Missal, the Magnificat. Judy says Scepter Press from the Daughters of St. Paul. The Pauline Press, they have a really good missal as well. Anne wants to know about the Pope, his back problems. Yeah, he's still, as far as I know, is having the sciatica problems. He just finished up a mass, candle mass. Just finished up, and he was there. So he's doing things like that, some public things. But he has had to cancel a few things over the last few weeks because of his back problems. How's Benedict? We don't know. I don't think we'll ever know how Benedict is until it's too late. But as far as I know, he's fine. Of course, he's very old, so he's frail. But I haven't heard anything lately about him being sick or anything. Looking at your questions again, see if I missed anything. Curious about my Catholic conversion. So that's a whole story. I'll tell that on another Tipsy Tuesday. Maybe we can do that next week. Because I haven't really talked about anything in a while. I've just like answered questions and talked about what's going on. The way to Italy, what is the candle mat? Oh, so today is presentation. And so it's when you can get candles blessed. It's the presentation of the Lord, it's purification of Mary. And so today it's a big feast day for that. And so the Mass actually starts by candlelight. If you go to YouTube and you go to the Vatican page, so there's the live stream for the Vatican, and it's on a 12-hour, not a loop, but it's 12 hours long. So you can go back maybe 2 hours, and you can watch the Mass begin with the Pope. So it starts by candlelight, and then when the liturgy of the Word begins, they turn on the lights. Am I familiar with Wendy Beckett, the art nun? No, I've never heard of her. You can check it out. Big influence on you with art and Catholicism. Yeah, I'll look for her. Okay. Other questions, comments? I was talking about Lent. So the other thing I'm doing is with the podcast. Joni and I are doing, hopefully you're listening to the podcast. It would be great if you could go on iTunes and rate it and maybe leave a comment, subscribe there, because that's how it gets noticed. That's how it gets in the whole algorithm for iTunes. We have about 1,000 listens a week, I think. Are we getting close to 1,000? Maybe. I may be bumping that up a little more. I don't know if that's good or bad. So, it's nice to have. Every listener is nice. But it's a weekly podcast we're doing, and during Lent, we're going to do a daily podcast just for the Station Church. So we'll talk a little bit about the history of each church, and I think you'll enjoy that. So again, if you sign up for my newsletter that's going out tomorrow, I will be talking a bit more about my plans for Lent with the updated church videos, the articles I've written, and also the podcast. But Lent is a big time for people to come to Rome, especially as we get closer to Easter. And obviously, no one can do that right now. So I've always wanted to bring the station churches to you. And especially now that you can't come, I'm going to go even harder in bringing them to you. So podcast every day, video every day, and the articles are already on my website. Can you just Google thecatholictraveler.com for podcasts? If you go to my website, there's a link for podcasts, and there's also the link within the podcast for iTunes. Jerry asks, what church did I belong to before becoming Catholic? Nothing. Yeah, we were really nothing. My mom doesn't like for me to say nothing because like we had a Bible and stuff, and I guess I went to church a couple times, but we were really just not practicing anything. We weren't like heathens or anything. We just didn't go to church. And so then we became Catholic. But yeah, I'll tell that whole story because it'll probably take the whole hour maybe. I don't know. Do I have a favorite saint? I have a lot of favorite saints. I don't know how to pick just one. I get a lot of anxiety, like when I'm flying and just occasionally when I'm just out. And so St. Dipna's been a big one because she's the patron saint of people with mental issues. And so that includes anxiety. St. Benedict, I like. John Paul II, just because I met him and get to see him a lot. St. Catherine. I don't know. I've got a lot of favorite saints. I should have a better response because I do get asked that a lot. You'd like to hear my conversion story. My reconversion story is on my website. I'll talk about that too because I converted and then reconverted. Yeah. What else do we have? Any more questions? They call them nuns now. It's Nones. Yeah, Kyle, you're right. That's probably what we were because we weren't really anything. What am I drinking? Averna, it's gone. Averna today, Tipsy Tuesday. Averna, it's an Amaro. You can get this in most liquor stores in the U.S. I think Canada as well. It's an Amaro. It's an after dinner drink. It's a bitter. I drink it straight, just on ice. I guess that's not straight then, is it? It's on the rocks. That's how most people here would have it, just straight. Okay. Questions, comments, concerns? Listen to the podcast. The most recent one was about food, and it was a fun one. So you should listen to it. I remember rate it on iTunes, subscribe, leave a comment. It's a big help. What else do I have to tell you? I guess that's it. I don't have anything else. So I'll wrap it up. If you don't have any other questions, I'll wait and see if anything pops up. Otherwise, I will sign out. Jerry, the Magnificat Missal also comes in large print if you're interested. I was just told that. Okay. So that's it. Nothing else. Tipsy Tuesday's over. Thank you, Bella Moore. Have I heard of Epiphany water? No, I have not. What is that? Is that holy water from Epiphany? I have not heard of Epiphany water. Ciao, Gloria. It's good to see you always. Jerry, see you later. What time Tipsy Tuesday next week? It's either going to be 5 o'clock my time or 7 o'clock. I'll post it on Facebook and Instagram. I didn't do that today because I didn't know it was going to be late until later. But I'll definitely, it's probably going to be at 5 because I want to go out and support the bars. My mom is saying hello again. Yeah, so next week, probably 5 o'clock. Oh, it's my dad saying hi, not my mom. Sorry. Have a great evening. You too. Food podcast was yummy to listen to. I thought so. We talked about some of our favorite dishes and our favorite restaurants here in Rome. People always like to hear about food, and Joni was able to make it theological somehow. How long do I generally fast? What do you mean? Like, I do the regular fasting days. I don't fast like for 40 days. What time in the States? So, Ann, I don't know where you are, but 7 o'clock here is 1 o'clock Eastern. 5 o'clock here is 11 a.m. Eastern, if that helps. So it'll either be at 1 o'clock or 11 o'clock your Eastern time, probably 11 o'clock, just because I want to go support the bars that are reopening, because this has been very, very hard for them. Anything else? No? Okay. Then I'm going to wrap it up. So great to talk to you. See you next week. See you on Second Cup Saturday if you watch that show every Saturday at 3:30 Rome time. And yeah, see you then. Okay. Ciao.